If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
First round pick. True, that's a very good point. Very good point. We're out here live at the Tilt to Kill on the Avenue in Whitemarsh. Brian Billick, the coach. You can follow him on Twitter. It's @CoachBillick. He joins us here on WNST. Coach, let me go back just with receivers. I have had all season this concept of the Ravens really need size at the receiver position. They just seem to lack that one 6'4", 6'5" type of guy that can go up and get the football in the red zone, and specifically in the end zone.
Well, you were trying to find that, but you were coached with Clarence Moore, and you know what's going to go.
Right. Now they've got at the tight end position with Billick and Dixon.
A couple of guys.
They've got some presence there. And Anquan Bolt now is a pretty physical presence.
Right.
You're right. They've got the speed guy in Torrey Smith. The guys that you look at in the draft, right, as an example, a little bit more speed guys.
Right.
But this is a big, you got some big receivers. Alshon Jeffries.
Yep.
You can maybe get in the second round. Ruben Randall, you might be able to get in the second round. That's got some legitimate size. That would be a good second round pick.
Is it as important as I think it is? You know, I'm saying this is a guy that, heck, I got like a D3 offer to go play football. Is it as important to have somebody like that? And look, you had Randy Moss when you were putting up great numbers in Minnesota. How important is size and having that one guy you can throw the ball?
I always felt like I want my receiving corps put together like a basketball team. You know, I want that big guy.
You want a guard, a forward, and a center, right?
Exactly. I want that guy in the slot. I want that guard, that basketball on air that can win in a nickel situation. I want the pure speed guy on the outside. I want a guy that's got sheer size, maybe doesn't have the speed, but has that size, so that everybody has a role. I don't want everybody the same. So
that's why you love tight ends so much, right? I mean, the tight ends was that's where you utilize that because we never had that really as long as you grew.
And that's an area that you go to. So I throw the tight ends in that category. Again, I want to field up. And when it comes to receiver, sheer speed, no, I want the basketball player. I want the hurdler. The guy that has explosion and balance, not just straight line speed. I know I've got a good receiving corps. If you take your 5 guys and I take my 5 guys and we put them on a basketball court, then I beat you.
It seemed like the Ravens addressed the speed issue a year ago when they selected Torrey Smith in the second round. He showed certainly the signs of being the type of guy that can really be a game breaker. It looks like, to me, they're pretty complete offensively with that one glaring thing sort of being, well, right now they don't really have a left guard. I guess Ja Reed would be the guy. But other than that, it would seem like size receiver is the one thing they're kind of still missing offensively.
Yeah, I'd also throw the interior of the offensive line.
Okay.
I love Matt Burke. Matt was with us in Minnesota prior to me coming to the Ravens. Obviously had a great career in Minnesota. It's been great for the Ravens. Matt's at that point in his career now. I think he can go the full 16 games. Losing Ben Grubbs hurt. It did. And so drafting on the interior line, again, not a real sexy pick. But if they were to come away with, say, one of these Wisconsin guards in the first round, that would be a good solid first round.
How do you feel about giving those interior linemen big money? I mean, we've now seen Jason Brown leave. We've seen Ben Grubbs leave, and his first-round draft pick. Everybody saw what happened to the Ravens' offense when Ben Grubbs was not a part of it last year. I'm concerned about the loss of Ben Grubbs. And I know Drew wrote a blog, and we'll talk to you about it a little later. He wrote a blog that if it came down to keeping Ed Reed right now, at this point in his career, letting him sail and giving that money to Ben Grubbs, maybe the Ravens should have considered that. Thoughts about that?
It's hard when you're talking about Ray Lewis and Ed Reed to imagine them not being Ravens. The problem is, and we saw this with Ray a couple years ago, when they actually had to let him go to the street to see what that value was going to be. To get him back so that he understood, no, this is what the value is. You would love to pay those guys for what they've done. But you've got to pay them for what they're going to do. And at this stage in their careers, what they're going to do, the years they're going to give you, the injury situation, that's a tough one for them to recognize and accept.
It seems like the position that we're sort of not talking about a lot, but I think could still be in play as offensive tackle. And the Ravens have a really interesting scenario there because you have Brian McKinney, who was serviceable certainly last season, but it doesn't seem to be a tackle of the future. Michael Orr, who you keep sort of waiting for him to move into an upper echelon of offensive tackles. Hey, what have you thought of this combo, and do you feel like maybe the team needs to think more about position.
Yeah, the problem will be unless you move up. It's a pretty good offensive tackle. You got Matt Cleo, you got Riley from Iowa, Jonathan Martin from Stanford. Those guys are going to be long gone. Now you're getting further down. You're talking to a guy like Mike Adams from Ohio State. Don't know that he's going to be available to the Ravens. So unless they want to go up and get one of those guys, and I'm just looking at my top 100 list. Again, theirs could be totally different. They could evaluate. There's a bit of a void. I have Michael Adams at 22. At least the early 20s. I don't think he might even go in the late teens. The next offensive tackle on my board, as I'm looking at it, gosh, we're going all the way down to Bobby Massey, number 45 from Mississippi. That's a bit of a reach. At tackle, not guard. Or center. That's why I think the better value might be there. So, if indeed they value one of the guys, maybe it's where they do fall back and pick up a better value. I don't see anybody in that 25 to 35 range at offensive tackle that would be what you would perceive as the right value in the first round.
What have you seen in Michael Orr? Is it frustrating for you in watching him play as it is at times for us as Ravens fans, who just seem, this guy's got all the athleticism, he seems like he should have the talent, but it just doesn't click at a very
He's almost at the point where he's a miss as a draft pick.
Yeah, maybe not quite.
Well, they wanted him for a left tackle.
Right.
You know, that is the blind side.
First off, I think the criteria used for tackle is a little high. I like Mike Orr. I think he's a good pick. I think he's a good player. He needs to solidify right side, left side, just for his development. You've got to remember how far this guy had to come and learn the game. But I think he's a solid player. When I'm looking at different tackles every week. That's one of the great things about my job. When you see what everybody else is playing with, Michael Orr is pretty darn good.
Well, you played with John Ogden in his prime for all those years, so maybe it's the sport.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.